guys, so this video is going to be a vlog video. Hello. And I have a little guest with me here. This is Kimble Shanks, my black fuzzy cat. She just turned a year old this weekend, so I thought we'd all say happy birthday to Skimby. Anyway, she's the cutest. Just kidding, Pepe is. Just kidding, I love them both. Anyway, I'm going to be doing another non-beauty, non-fashion vlog, and this one's kind of an important one. I'm gonna work my psychology bone a little bit, and let's hope nothing goes awry. So, I got my license in the mail yesterday, and I wanted to cry. It was a really overwhelming feeling because of how much I've gone through, and I wanted to share my journey with you guys and talk about driving anxiety and technically amaxophobia, which I used to use that all the time as my username for everything. That's the fear of riding in cars. That's a little bit different than driving a car. So I wanted to talk about some pointers, give you guys some advice for those of you who have the same phobia or fear that I do of driving. I thought I was weird and that I was alone, and so many of you reached out to me and said that you have the same fear, that you're older than me and still don't have your license because of your fear, and it can be really a quite debilitating fear. And so I really wanted to do a vlog with you to talk about it, talk about my experiences, how I pushed myself to overcome it, to take my test finally and actually drive, and I hope that we can all communicate in the comments as well. If you have any additional tips or anything like that for everybody, please feel free to share them in the comments. I want this to be a very open, positive, anxiety type vlog. I call it an anxiety vlog in the name of Graveyard Girl or Bunny. She does these kind of vlogs, but I'm gonna do obviously my own version of driving because it's a really big thing, I guess. A lot of people have it, and so I really wanted to be open about it. I'm gonna talk about my experience a little bit first. I actually started driving. The first time I drove a car was with my mother, actually. It's the only time I've ever driven with my mom. Was the first time I drove a car, and we went to the Kmart parking lot where I lived, and I literally pushed the gas, pushed the brake. That was about it. It wasn't anything. Then about a year later, I started driving with my fiance. My mother also has a phobia of driving as well, and it's really interesting because I seem to have developed my mom's phobias. She has a phobia of the dentist, which I also have, and she also has a phobia of driving, which I have. I wouldn't say it's a straight up phobia. It used to be, and I'll get into that, but I have overcome the phobia part of it, and now it's just a fear, and there is a difference. If you don't know, I'll explain. So phobia is where you have either anxiety attacks or you have physical symptoms in addition to overwhelming anxiety when you do the thing or see the thing or touch the thing. I say thing because most people have phobias of things like spiders, snakes, phobia of heights. You know, when the idea is even brought up, you go into a panic mode and you just don't want to talk about it. You want to avoid the subject as much as possible, let alone the actual act or the actual thing. You just want to avoid it. And so a fear isn't as physically debilitating, so it's not where you get an overwhelming physical reaction to the thing. You just don't want to do it, you don't want to see it, or you know, something like that. The fear is just, you're afraid. I think everybody knows what a fear is. Some people have fear of heights, but not necessarily a phobia of heights. A phobia involves physical reaction. Hope that clears it up. So I was about 20 years old. I'm 22 now and just got my license like 2 weeks ago, and I was about 20 years old when my fiance started pushing me to drive. He's like, you really need to start driving in a car and work on your license. And I always thought I had time. My mom was 22 when she got hers, which I think is funny. No, she might have been 21, I don't remember. And so when I was 16 and all my friends were going to get their permits and everything, I just wasn't having any of it. I was so scared, and I thought, well, my mom waited till she was 21, 22, so I'm gonna wait that long. And that's exactly what happened. And I thought, you know, I'm not gonna wait that much longer than that age because I don't want to be weird. But I found out it's not so weird. A lot of you guys are actually older than me and still don't have it. And so that inspires me to do this kind of video for you guys and to give you some advice, all that. I was requested to do this video too, so I'm really excited to do it. So I was 20 when I started officially driving. I actually learned in a cemetery, the cemetery where I live. It's a beautiful cemetery. I love it. I grew up in it. I always rode my bike through it. It might be weird, but I love cemeteries so much, and I love being at them and everything. So I learned in the cemetery because I was comfortable there. I knew all the roads in the cemetery because I had ridden my bike through there for years as a child. And so I thought that was a comfortable place to start. I was really afraid when I went to drive. Tyler will vouch for me when I say that it was so funny. Like, looking back, it was funny how much I would freak out over the smallest things. There was a pedestrian in the cemetery with their dog, and I was so afraid of hitting that dog, you don't even know. I was like going 5 miles an hour, and I was so scared. It was pretty ridiculous. It is, you know, it was not something to be afraid of, but I was so scared of pedestrians and hitting them and all, I don't know. So I started in the cemetery, and I started slow. I would only drive the cemetery maybe once every 2 weeks for about 10 minutes, and I would just go straight. Finally, he got me to move past the open roads into the tight turn roads in the cemetery, and then finally he pushed me to go on an actual road. I honestly couldn't have done it without his support. He takes all the credit for pushing me, not aggressively. That is something that he learned when he was learning to drive a car, is not to be aggressive or pushy or rude or mean or anything like that. You just want to be supportive. You're just there to support and teach. And he did exactly that. He said the exact right things that I needed to hear in the right moments, and to keep me from panicking and all of that. So I honestly couldn't have done it without him. I wish that all of you have had somebody there like that, because that honestly helped me so much to have him there. Some fear derives from how we're taught. So if you're taught in an aggressive manner and you're just thrown into the wolves, and you know, on the freeway or something, your parent forces you to go on public roads right away, sometimes that's where fear can derive from. So honestly, with his pushing me, not in a bad way, I needed the push. With him pushing me, I was able to finally take the test and do all of that. I honestly don't have that much of a background of car accidents or anything that I was afraid of. I do have a very big fear. It's not necessarily a phobia, but it's a big fear of death in general. I actually am taking a death and dying course this semester to help deal with it, because it's a psychology course. Because I haven't lost anybody close to me. I've lost people, acquaintances, family, friends' families, and things like that. And I've gone to 2 funerals in my life. Ironically, one was this past Tuesday that I had my death and dying class, so that was interesting. But there's something about death that honestly scares me so bad, so I'm taking the class to help me deal with it. That's kind of where my fear derives from driving, is I'm just scared to die. And so I'm deathly afraid of car accidents. Final Destination 2, can't watch the first scene. I mean, I can watch it, but it honestly, it freaks me out. Like, it makes me so uncomfortable to watch, because that kind of thing scares me so bad. I just can't explain it. And my background with car accidents, I've hit, not me personally, I've been in a car that's hit an apartment building, you know, driven all the way around the building, taken out a balcony. And I have been in the car when my mom has accidentally hit somebody in a scooter as an elderly woman. That was crazy. We were only going 30, but she did break her hip. It was really sad, but she didn't die, thank God. I've never seen a dead body in my life. Again, my thing with death, I just can't handle it, and so I'm hoping this class really helps me think of it as a natural process, because I am just so scared. So the whole concept of death and everything about it, seeing a dead body, everything about it scares me. I can't. That's a whole nother anxiety vlog in itself, so let me know if you want me to keep doing anxiety vlogs, because I will. I'm just going to get into the pointers that I have for you guys, the advice that I can give to you about getting over your fear. I did do some research, but I'm also going to be somewhat of your psychologist for the video. I'm not licensed. You don't have to take my advice. I'm not saying that this is going to cure anybody of their fear. This is just something to keep in mind. Hopefully you can practice this and it'll help you. Let's get started. The first thing that you want to do is identify where your fear comes from, because once you know the origin of your fear, it helps you get past it. So, for instance, my fear of the driving test itself was me cracking under pressure. I knew I was a good driver. I knew that I could do it and I would pass if it was just any day. But it was the fear of sitting in the car with a stranger and them evaluating my every move that really got to me. And I did crack under pressure, actually. I'll tell you a really embarrassing story. When he asked me where the emergency brake was, I turned on my emergency flashers. And he was like, "Oh, those are your emergency brakes?" And I was like, "No, my God, no. That's the emergency flashers. This is the e-brake." And I had to like correct myself so bad. It was so embarrassing. I just couldn't believe the first question he asked me, I get wrong. And I'm like, no, this is not going good. Like, this is not how I want it to go. And so it's really embarrassing. So you want to know what your fear is. If it's of the test, discover what it is about the test that freaks you out, whether it's a stranger in the car, somebody who's watching your every move and evaluating you. If it's of driving itself, is it the other drivers that freak you out because you don't know what they're going to do? Is it previous accidents that you might have had in your life, or a fear of accidents like myself in general, that you're just afraid to die in a car accident? Just identifying where it comes from is really good background to have to face it and move past it. A good thing to remember is to avoid black and white thinking or absolute thinking. You don't want to say, driving's scary, I'm not going to drive. That's an absolute thought. You're saying, I'm not going to drive because I'm tired all the time and I don't want to crash. You can't say that all the time, because being tired is something that'll move on. You know, it'll pass. Doesn't mean you can't drive at all. So you want to be aware that driving is dangerous when it's done irresponsibly. So just try to drive responsibly. So follow the speed limits, follow the rules of the road, the law, and most of the time you'll be okay. You can't judge what other drivers are going to do. You can to a certain extent with their body language. Cars do have a body language, I've found, if you just pay attention. The biggest thing is to always be aware of your surroundings. If you're aware and careful and responsible, you'll be safe. And if not, then it would be a very severe accident from another cause. So just know that if you're a responsible driver, that's what you have to worry about. And of course, be aware of your surroundings and everything. Just don't try to be a black and white thinker. And you know, you can't say that this situation is going to happen. Like, if I drive, I'm going to get into an accident. You can't think like that. You have to know that it's somewhat necessary, depending where you live. Of course, every area is different. Where I live, driving is necessary. I don't live in a big city. I don't live in San Francisco or LA or New York, where driving isn't necessarily necessary. You could take a bus, you could drive, or you could walk, you know, take a cab. I don't have that here. I have a bus system, but long story short, the bus stop's not near me, so not really an option. Plus the mall is a long ways away and I need to drive to it. So anyway, moving on. If you're one of those people who gets tense when you drive, or you have a physical reaction to the fear, whether it's phobia or you just have a physical reaction when you are afraid, you're tense, you know, you're nervous, you're just, you know, you feel like you can't do it, the best thing to do is relax, because when you relax, you're a safer driver. When you're tense, it tends to be a little bit dangerous. The reason why most drunk drivers survive accidents is because they're all loosey-goosey already. The alcohol in them has made them all comfortable. It's like a muscle relaxer. They're just loose. They go with the car accident. They go with the car, and that's why they don't get injured. When you're tense and you're moving inside a car and you're in an accident, that's when problems happen. That's when injuries occur. So the more relaxed you can be, the better. Obviously, you're not going to be, oh, I'm just going to chill and let this car hit me. I'm just going to relax like I'm at home watching TV while I get in an accident. Obviously, we don't have that reaction when we get in a car accident. We're just tense. But I use that as an example. When you're driving, if you can recognize that you're tensing up, I tend to grip the steering wheel really hard. I just have to like loosen my fingers and just kind of lightly hold onto the wheel enough to where I can use it, obviously, and control it, but not so tight that it, like white knuckles, you know, cuts off circulation. So if you can recognize that you're tense, just relax, deep breaths, and think about being relaxed. Think about whatever it is that relaxes you. If you put on some calming music, that helps me. Put on my favorite radio station, blare some tunes, not super loud, because that's dangerous. Something you could do to release all the tension in your body is to tense up really tight. I wouldn't recommend doing this while you're driving, maybe at a light, you know, when you're stopped, pull over to do this. When you're really, just tense up really tight, just clench all your muscles and then release. And you'll feel the difference of being completely relaxed and being really tense. There's a huge difference, and you'll feel it, and it feels so much better to just be relaxed and take a deep breath and move on and continue driving. You want to be relaxed when you drive. The more tense you are, the more dangerous of a driver you are, so just be relaxed. My last tip is going to be go at your own pace. Not necessarily when you're driving. I mean, you want to go the speed limit at least, if not with the flow of traffic, even though you're supposed to just go speed limit. You're supposed to forget about all the other cars, but no one really, I mean, people do that. But technically, going with flow of traffic is safe as long as it's not super fast above the speed limit or anything. We all know what I'm talking about. What I mean by going at your own pace is do what makes you comfortable, but still goes outside your comfort zone. Let me explain. So, don't be threatened around by those around you who are getting their licenses now. If you're in your teens, you feel obligated to get your license. You freak out about it every time you think about it. And just know that everyone goes at their own pace. Sure, most people get their license when they're 16, 17. I understand. But obviously, there are hundreds and thousands of us that don't. Never feel alone, but know that if you get it when you're 30, that's when you're gonna get it. You get it when it's comfortable for you to get it. If you're not ready, then you're not ready. Don't let people around you pressure you into thinking you have to get it when you turn 16. Just start with your permit. The permit test is very easy. Just read the handbook, know the rules of the road. That's not stressful at all, unless you have test anxiety or anything. But the test is easy for the permit. Once you have your permit, you have a year to practice. I always put off my driving practice until at the end of my permit. I actually had my permit twice. I got it when I was 20, so I could safely, legally drive. And when I was 21, it expired, so I had to get another one. And my permit actually expires tomorrow. So I got my license literally last minute. I just got my license in the mail yesterday. My permit expires tomorrow. I was really last minute with it because I didn't feel like I was ready. But don't be comfortable. Don't sit comfortably and say, I'm not ready. I'm not ready. I'm not gonna do it, because you have to still push yourself. You have to go outside your comfort zone, but not to the extreme. So when I thought I wasn't ready to go on street roads after the cemetery, and Tyler said, no, you're ready. Trust me. You can do it. And I went on the residential road for the first time. Afterwards, I felt so proud. I did it. I did the stop signs. I did everything perfectly. Not perfectly. I wasn't the best driver starting off, a little jerky. But we all are. Never feel pressured to be the perfect driver when you first get in the car. Nobody is. Everybody has to start somewhere. But go a little bit outside your comfort zone, maybe every other time you go practicing, because eventually you're going to build yourself up to go on regular roads, 40-mile-an-hour roads, and you'll feel so proud of yourself after you complete that. I know when I had to drive to Tyler's work for the first time, he's like, I want you to drive me to my work, which is pretty far. And I was like, I can't do it. He's like, I know you can do it. Just do it. And so I pushed myself and I did it, and I was so excited. I couldn't stop talking about it. I called my mom. I was so excited. The first time I drove to the mall, so excited. So it's a process, and it's never going to be, you get your permit and then you get your license. You can take that year to practice. You do what you need to do, because everyone is different. Don't let anyone else make you think or pressure you, make you feel bad for not having it. Yeah, people will poke fun at you. People made fun of me all the time. I laughed at myself about it because it's funny. Not ultimately inside, deep down, it's not funny because it's a fear. It's real and it's there and it's bad. But you can laugh at yourself, say, you know, yeah, I'm 22 and I don't have my license. I feel weird. You know, I've definitely felt weird. And last night when I got my license to Tyler, I was like, I'm finally a normal person. Not that it means that normal is having a driver's license by the time you're 16. That's not what it's about. It's about you being comfortable, learning at your own pace. That's exactly what it's about. You go at your own pace. however fast or slow you need to go. I think those are pretty general tips that a lot of you could probably take into consideration. General knowledge that I think anybody could use. I'm not trying to do specific case by case. If you want any advice, I love giving you guys advice. I gotta work my psychology muscle because I am a future psychologist. I love to practice on you guys. So if you want any advice, you can contact me anonymously on Tumblr. If you just want to ask me an anonymous question, you don't have to show your identity, that's fine. I'll leave a link for my ask box down below. You choose whether to be anonymous or not. You can contact me on Twitter, you can email me, you can inbox me, you can leave a comment below if you want it to be public. I want you to feel comfortable coming to me with any kind of questions or concerns about specifically this kind of fear or any kind of advice that you want from me. I hope that I can help you. I'm not going to be able to help every one of you, and I'm not trained legally, so don't expect much. But I do have a lot of psychology background already. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this kind of video. Let me know if you want me to do more anxiety vlogs. I have to quote that because that's not my term. More anxiety type, these kind of videos that you want me to talk about, any more of my fears. I have some pretty interesting fears, some embarrassing ones too. So we can all talk about phobias that we might have together. I want this to be a part of my channel. I'm fashion, I'm English, and I'm also psychology. So those are the three things that are going to be on my channel, my elements. So I want you to enjoy that too, hopefully. I'm not making another channel. Don't ask. I'm not making a vlog channel. Okay, I'm just going to keep doing vlogs on here. So let me know what kind of videos you want to see from me. If you have any questions or anything, leave them in the comments below. Or like I said, other resources down in the description box. Hope you enjoyed. Let's all talk about our fear of driving together and get through it all together. I hope this inspires some of you to go out and get your license. If I can do it from where I started, you have no idea, then you can too. Okay, I promise you, it's not that hard. I promise. It's really good. You'll feel so proud once you have it, and then you'll have no stress in life. I mean, probably more stressors will come around, but then you don't have to really drive. Once you have your license, people aren't going to push you to drive. They're not going to make fun of you. You just don't have to drive if you don't want to once you have your license. So that's my spiel. That's my backstory. That's my advice for you. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you guys later. Bye.